in this campaign around the Esports World Cup. He's done that twice, in fact, if you factor in the online round. You never know. I would never write off Kaiki. He, of course, featuring in around the realms of 7th to 8th, of course, alongside his teammate. Watch out, though, as well for the likes of Ibrahim Khan, who will have a chance, but at this stage, they've got to try and break down this almighty Mouse lineup at the front.
Very quickly then, does Max Benneker take his 22nd victory?
Who knows?
Oh, you absolute
I refuse,
wimp, George Morgan.
I refuse.
Get out of here. Max Benneker then will lead us up towards the line, but it'll be big communication between the Mouse team as Benneker, Dambits and Lerner will take us across the line to begin the race. Of course, Dambits is going straight around the outside, looking for his first victory, by the way, in ESL R1. He's gone very wide. Could well receive some form of warning or even penalty from race control if he doesn't give this one straight back up to Benneker. It'll be Dambits leading into the second corner, straight around the outside. He's going to go. It's a 1-2-3 still for Mouse. The big move comes in from Ibrahim Khan, almost alongside Kevin Ellis Jr. for P4.
Yep, great start for Mouse, though Dambits might yet be caution. Benneker now moving alongside his teammate, looking to take the swap back, but we still got side-by-side action further down the order. As you can see, Johan Hart as well as Kaiki Oliveira going wheel to wheel. It's near enough 4 wide. We got a plethora of them. It's a scrum heading down towards the hairpin, and in the mix of it, we got Kaiki Oliveira in the heart of it as well. Jimmy Antonez being forced off slightly wide, but now rejoins the circuit. He's okay, but it's all about Khan and Hart heading down towards the arena corner, in towards the next left-hander once more, side by side again. Oliveira coming in round the outside, looking to add his BS Plus competition BMW up the order into P6. He'll cement P6 for now after getting the line on Johan Hart, coming in towards the main arena section now.
Yeah, indeed. Great stuff from Kaiki Oliveira to have snuck his way through. Fantastic effort, but as much as I will say, the race lead has switched over side by side behind that as Jimmy Antunes and Ferris Stanley go side by side in the more typical BS competition livery, of course, the white, blue and grey, trying to take on the Apex Racing team. I mean, Apex Racing team in BS competition have good history of going into battle. I distinctly remember, I think it was it the VCO Esports Racing League, or it might be the Esports Racing World Cup. We had some Formula 4s racing around here, and it was a competition where BS competition were going up against the Apex Racing team. It was absolutely fantastic. So they've got some history going toe-to-toe round here. Alas, at the moment, it is looking like advantage to neither of them because it's Mouse who have the control of this race.
Yeah, but never say die, says Kevin Ellis Jr. He's on the tail of Moritz Lerner here, coming out of the first few corners, and Hockenheim ever so flat, but it does encourage wheel-to-wheel action, especially down this portion of circuit around the famed Parabolica. Spitz curve coming up next. A move down into the hairpin at turn 6 could be on the cards. Kevin Ellis Jr. deciding against it, but Lerner goes defensive, so it might encourage Kevin Ellis Jr. to go around the outside. May as well release the brakes ever so slightly and then put his foot back down again as they now look to round turn 7 into Mercedes at turn 8. But still, Benneker leads. Dambits in second, Lerner in third. Look at the gap, though, between Khan and Ellis Jr., though, however. It started to stretch. It went beyond 8 tenths just briefly only a moment ago.
Yeah, indeed. Like I say, some of these are going to be a bit like an elastic band. They're going to chop and change all the time, but I will say Kevin Ellis Jr. will feel hungry to work his way past. He's leading the Apex Racing team. He led their squad to victory, of course, at the previous race at Spa. They'll be racing at Spa at the final race of this group. This group gets Spa twice. A bit of an oddity, but that's fine. As Kevin Ellis Jr. will try and find his way past Moritz Lerner. I mean, it's not going to be an easy overtake for him. He's got to get past Lerner, get past Dambits, get past Benneker. And this is what we were saying earlier. It's quite hard to overtake around the Hockenheim ring. So that one's a bit of a tick in the advantage for Mouse. But also, they're in the position where they can control it at the highest slipstream point in the circuit going around the Parabolica. And the BMW is pretty handy in a straight line as well. Yep,
certainly is. Plenty of power. Packs a punch, does the Mouse BMW. Obviously, the BS Plus competition also sharing that same machinery. And unfortunately for Robbie Stapleford as well, of course, didn't start at the back. He's now down to 12th. Obviously, Jamie Fluke getting the upper hand on him. Yuri Kazdorp still in 10th. Ferris Stanley, 9th. Just behind Jimmy Antonez as well. So it's very much a BS Plus competition VART scrap from P's 5 down to around P's 9 as well. But once again, Kevin Ellis Jr. on the attack. He might go for the move this time. Moritz Lerner going very defensive to the inside. And now Kevin Ellis Jr. really does force his Mercedes through this time. Though, obviously, though, with Moritz Lerner having the run coming out of turn 3, or should I say turn 4, and then on the or out of turn 6, I should say even.
My goodness, you can't count.
I can't count at all. Into the middle sector, still Lerner defending. Kevin Ellis Jr. though around the outside of Mercedes, Lewis.
Yeah, certainly so. He's going to use the Mercedes at the Mercedes arena to the inside as we exit it up towards the Mobile 1 curve. He's going to try and get past Maurice Lerner here. He squeezed him out wide as Maurice Lerner did on the exit of the hairpin. The pair of them just brushing each other a little bit. I'm sure there might be a couple of reports thrown around each way, left, right and centre. But at the moment, it is still advantage Maurice Lerner. The problem for Lerner, though, is that as the battle happens, he's getting pulled off the back of Dambits and Benica. And so that's the real problem for Lerner here, is that he's going to be a sitting duck by himself.
Yeah, absolutely right. Next time I'll pack my abacus for corner numbers as time goes on. But yeah, at this moment, Kevin Ellis Jr. still right in the rear of Moritz Lerner's BMW. Now, Lerner definitely more concerned because he's breaking away from Dambits and Benica, so that will put him at risk heading around the Parabolica because he won't have as much of a slipstream as what he would have had before. So this does put the BMW in somewhat jeopardy. Kevin Ellis Jr. once again probing as he now makes his way out of turn 3. He'll come out of Einfahrt Parabolica into the Parabolica itself. A run around turn 5 could yet present him with a P3. We'll wait and see whether that move can be done. He's getting closer. Lerner once again moves to the right, drifts to the right in a bid to try and defend the place, but Kevin Ellis Jr. will have more of a nose in front this time, and it's going to be a lot harder for Lerner to shake him. As they come out of turn 6, they're going to run wheel to wheel into Mercedes curve, Lewis.
Yeah, I think he might have this one. He'll have the outside for the kink, sure, but he'll have the inside line going into the Mercedes arena section. I'm pretty sure Kevin Ellis Jr. will fire this one in hard. The outside line to the Mercedes arena section can work, though. A little bit of contact between the pair of them brings Kaiki Oliveira closer and closer. They leave the Mercedes arena section straight around the outside. Kevin Ellis Jr. is going to go with a brush of contact. He's the one moving up to third. Still side by side up to Mobile 1. Got to be brave here to send it in straight around the outside. Can Kevin Ellis Jr. hang on? He will indeed do so as we head down into the Sachs curve, and that should be the move complete. More contact between the pair, though.
He nearly left the Mercedes open a little bit and encouraged Lerner to potentially make a move up the inside in what would have been a sensational switchback, but we're also riding on board with Kaiki Oliveira, the 29-year-old from Sao Paulo in Brazil, hunting down after Lerner in his own right. PS Plus competition's highest competitor in this leaderboard as they round turn 1, this time at Nord Curve. Another straight to take on the run down towards turn 2. Kevin Ellis Jr. with a lot of track to find to catch up with the front two. Mouse still in a very strong position, but Lerner in a major dogfight right now with Kaiki Oliveira hot on his heels.
And the major thing here is Kevin Ellis Jr., every position he makes up where he gets past a Mouse driver, it's not only the points that he's gaining himself, it's points he's taking off of Mouse. So it's double the advantage in that. And especially here, he will want Kaiki Oliveira to make his way past Maurice Lerner. Lerner sends it to the inside of the hairpin, at least to fill the mirrors, cannot complete that move. And Kaiki Oliveira straight to the outside. He'll go up towards that sausage curve as we head down towards the king. Taps on the brakes. He wants to drop straight back in behind.
Yeah, brave move from Kaiki Oliveira to release those brakes as he did. He thought perhaps that Lerner might have had him one and done, but Lerner, I think, left and extended just a little bit. It invited Kaiki to come back in. Unfortunately, there was no room for a move, but further back, Hearth and Khan are going at it once more. ART against BS Plus competition. They're going to run wheel to wheel coming out of Mercedes. And there you can see going wide, majorly wide, in fact, was Jimmy Antonez, but he's found Khan nonetheless. Side by side, they come through in towards the next left at Sachs curve as we now watch this fight still brewing up towards the higher end of this top 6. But now, at this stage, I think Hearth may have done enough. So is Antonez. Yeah. Khan has dropped to 8th.
Yeah, indeed. Hearth and Antonez, they both teamed up there to effectively double team Ibrahim Khan to drop him down to 8th position. So things not looking so good for BS competition as they drop down now to 8th and 9th. They could be staring at dropping potentially out of contention to move through. Shake of the head from Kaiki Oliveira as he knows he's not close enough coming down to turn 2. And the important bit from that, it's not only that he's not close enough coming down here, he knows he probably won't be close enough coming down into the hairpin at the exit of the Parabolica. So things maybe not looking so good for the BS competition team who, like I say, they might be staring at 3rd in the group right now.
It could be. Stapleford, though, has just jumped Kazdorp, so that's something.
There's a point.
He's gained a point here at this point for BS Plus competition, but you're absolutely spot on. This is not a good scenario. Might be shaking his head not only due to his own situation, but due to the situation surrounding his entire team right now, because Khan, Stanley, both losing out. Khan losing out 2 places to Johan Harth and Jimmy Antonez. He's now down in 8th, so ART strengthening their hold at the moment. It does look like it's going to be a Mouse ART battle over this group victory to join Williams, to then later join the top 4 in the final tomorrow. But there is still, I would say, another 4 laps to take us through before we then find out the answer, at least at the end of race 2. We still have 2 more races to come after this, but Beneke in full control. Dambit's having probably one of his best drives I think we've seen in ESL R1.
I've got to say, yeah. I mean, look, the fact that he is in contention for a victory. We've had a couple of brand new winners today. Of course, Jakub Masiewski and Dom Blyer, both first-time winners. Christopher Dambits would, of course, be another one. He'd be the 37th winner in the ESL R1. It means that almost half the drivers that have taken part in the ESL R1 would have taken victory, because we've only had 81 drivers. That said, I'm going to say right now, I don't think René Lanta will allow Christopher Dambits to go for anything on Max Beneke now.
He's got bigger fish to fry.
I think Dambits is finishing this race in second, and I think we're going to see a 20-second victory for Max Beneke.
I wouldn't write off Moritz Lerner regaining 3rd, though. I mean, he's still not far behind Kevin Ellis Jr., and we know what that BMW is capable of. He's within, at the moment, 0.5 of a second of Kevin Ellis Jr., and there's no chance of Kevin Ellis Jr. getting slipstream of Christopher Dambits at all. The gap has significantly gone out by around, well, he's out to 1.5 seconds, put it that way. So he is pretty much in no man's land as far as that's concerned, and Lerner might be just, you know, using the side of caution, maybe just using patience at this stage. Doesn't need to make the move just yet. He can wait a few laps, maybe doing it on the final lap around the Parabolica.
Yeah, indeed. Like I say, it is close for the race leader, but it's just not really going to come down. You're absolutely right, though. Moritz Lerner is knocking right back at the door where Kevin Ellis Jr. is sat right now. There will only be 3 laps left to go, and we'll see that straight line speed advantage. Kaiki Oliveira is still sat there, though, so it is the trio fight between the Apex Racing Team Mouse and BS Competition for the final step on the podium. Johan Hart's just a little bit too far off the rear of it, 1.3 seconds behind the Brazilian at the moment. There is a look into the eyes of the Frenchman, who's able to pull out quite a bit of a gap on his teammate. It's up to 0.8 of a second. The thing is, that could leave Jimmy Antunes just a little bit, you know, by himself in a 2-way scrap, of course, between himself and Ibrahim Khan. Ferris Stanley's also in tow for that. Of course, they've got Jamie Fluke at the back end of it, but yeah, he could be leaving his teammate high and dry there.
Yeah, could well be. As you now watch the battle still brew onwards. We're currently watching Jamie Fluke right now, chasing after Ferris Stanley. 0.3 between them as they now rush through towards the Parabolica section. Again, this battle alive and well. BS Plus competition and ART have met increasingly over the years. Now, once again, though, we're going to see this squabble continue, heading down in towards the hairpin. As they head down now, wheel to wheel again as they bang wheels. Now this is between Ibrahim Khan, Jimmy Antonez, Ferris Stanley as well. It's getting a bit waspy coming out of turn 6 there, Lewis.
Waspy is an interesting word to chuck down to it. And you know what? I don't necessarily disagree. It's all just a bit Carnage-filled a bit elbows out for no reason there on the departure of the hairpin. It just looked a bit weird as we look back up to Moritz Lerner, still sat 0.4 behind Kevin Ellis Jr. It is, we were talking about this before, and I still argue this is probably the hardest circuit to overtake at least what we got. I know you generally lean towards it being the Jeddah Corniche circuit, but we can get quite a lot of overtakes down to the final corner and down to the first, whereas here at the Hockenheim Ring, it's just that hairpin is the main overtaking opportunity. It's quite easy to cover off.
Yeah, I think the one great bit of news is this looks likely to go all the way, I would say, at this point, given the fact that we do have Monza and Spa coming up. What a couple of tracks to decide the outcome of this next group. Very wide there from Kevin Ellis Jr. Now, is that the frailties kicking in, Lewis?
Oh, you just turned in too early and absolutely slapped the sausage curb on the inside. It looked like one of your lines when you've been driving. Just went 1.5 miles off the circuit. That was not a great line.
Lewis McGlade. Rude.
Well, I mean, look, I think it's more rude towards Kevin Ellis Jr. because let's be honest, he sat there thinking,
what, comparing me with him?
George Morgan's much worse than that. Like, to be fair, at least Kevin Ellis Jr. hit the apex. I'm pretty sure you weren't committing any crimes.
I need to hire a detective for mine.
Goodness me, you weren't nowhere near any of them. Spa has quite a few. I don't think you hit one.
No. It was a struggle.
Oh yeah, no, I remember you all. I remember giving you some advice as well going into a Rouge.
I get charged search fees for Apexes.
Yeah, indeed, it's not a pretty sight. Jimmy Antunes, though, speaking of search fees for Apexes, Jimmy Antunes has dropped down the order, and so the Apex Racing team, they are going missing in this race.
They are. Johan Hart is currently their second highest driver in this field, and obviously part of that midfield scrap, unfortunately for Antunes, has continued to fall down. Ferris Stanley has somehow clawed his way up to 7th, as now once again Kevin Ellis Jr., I think no doubt feeling the strain, has got quite the gaggle of cars in behind. It's Moritz Lerner and Kaiki Oliveira, and Lerner obviously very wary that Oliveira's in behind. Surely the next lap, the final lap it will be, will decide as to whether Kevin Ellis Jr. retains 3rd place or whether he loses out to Lerner or even Oliveira.
Yeah, indeed. 2 laps to go in this one. And again, this could be a big swing. It's their halfway point in this group. After this, we'll be talking more and more about, how many more points they've got left on the table. Remember, the maximum points that a team can score in a given race is 74, which means that because you can score a minimum of 6, if you don't count for penalty points and all that such, it means that effectively you're looking at a team leading a 68-point lead to take it before the final race, which is obviously what happened with Williams Esports and their fantastic performance earlier on today. That's not happening in this group. There is no way anyone is going to win this group and take it before we get into that final race.
Yeah, absolutely right. Dambit's actually flittering on the 1-second gap between he and Benneker. So Benneker now careering away, and it looks like he's making safe the victory. Not that it was ever in question, given the fact that it's both mouse cars up at the top, but Kevin Ellis Jr. still under strain and under pressure, because there you can see Lerner in front of Oliveira, who are currently riding on board with, coming out of Mercedes and then heading down the straight out of turn 10. Mobile 1 curve will be coming next, and Lerner knows that the clock is ticking, and one final chance now will soon arrive for Mouse to make it a 1, 2, and 3.
I just don't think it's happening. There isn't the opportunity left for Moritz Lerner. He'll need to settle for 4th place. Risking it for 3rd just isn't worth it right now. Mouse haven't scored too well in the first race, but they are scoring well in this one, as out through the final corner it is Max Benneker to take a 22nd victory in ESL R1. Christopher Dambits, though, round of applause for him. What an unbelievable drive to 2nd. Kevin Ellis Jr. rounds out the podium for a quality score. 4 Mouse, absolutely impressive.
We have not seen a single Christopher Dambits podium in the online season. That will be one of his very